Tang te dasar mom se ba dasar school ga chung ni rang ten ga zaido das thurla la sa goma ne la ni hangrang masiwa unda bu sa ga lai ale masiwa mom se ka lai filimo ni sai jin chong ga lokai bu ni gopei la atha bu ma sung ma dit ke asibu lai ale ga lai athang masiwa dit ke ni om shu sai jin chong ga lokai rokti shi ka janang ni rangi bu lek pa ni cha shu ni lai phi ni adik ke rang ro nya ta ni phiska 성들 망포 아니 타피 말네 부랑된가 세도 둘랑 바들 라니레가 동타 삼삼 십시 엄들이 뇽베로 있자 몸세다 오냐 바종니서 남삼이 아타 바당 폼 키니오나나마 오나 감니 리바 뿌라 그린하우스 난가 룩니 니 소소가 쇼니 리쇼 춘디께다니 칠라 감타다스 라카오 말메서 니오니 다담냐 블라니오니 니 남자 당긴가니 웅동반 달만져서 니 남긴가라 몸세 피니 니 오래 피니 니 남자가라 족당 아샴 부러 핀져서
This has been a common narrative for the people of Changxing in Mongar for some time now. Their lives took an upward trajectory following the introduction of sustainable land management practices between 2015 and 2020.
Pakni bunjwa hate tasip nya sa chip tongpo ni wa adit ke ha jungkiwa sikte kak ni thukbu ni unchala
a ji cheni nam sami phen da toklan ni junchala sar ni a ji chen than ni ji gom ji ma chala kam ni a hekpia sar a ji ma chala kam ni ngam su kheni ni workshop tor pheni ba dong tani ngam su gi dong da sa che bakala dong tani ngam su gi phak buni sar ni 지체되 genshom sabak pura chep chon bak sabak pura chi ada tang rini oni ni luslan ni haibya sabak onya tang ga chi tang ada chak choni ni xihian bak pura rangonya dongtani chep ka gine bu dongtani phak bule re mana chunchas baba ka phen tokla ni rang tin hande ta manya pakap de wate hande thuri ni chur chwan bak cheng ni oni thala kam nam sam phen tokla slela
ni ton chinga gi hema be chindi ngachi ne tang chi chupra be yeblete de ngachi langi singchi mo dibero 남섬이 입치올레된 남섬이 라다인 세주게라 대 사이즈 좀 답이가 없을래 들리가 지사야 아치 추싱 좀 집에 아린 좀 집에 조디 세주네라 대 나라의 지원의 비유진 할람 공파 직장 앞주의 지 세주게라 대 자체의 비유진 자체 딘주 대지게라 사이즈 좀 이차 차디 세주게라 대 공어레린이 리미야 마치기 헤말랄린 타밀리 베타디 다도 랄렌 타비가 세주게라
In Jarigyok of Lindsay, Karmachodan is busy preparing her field for tilling. As a beneficiary of sustainable land management practices, she says that the interventions have helped her save time and cost. Jarigyok was named after the famous Tibetan master Tsangpa Jare. The people of Jare are believed to be the descendants of Tsangpa Jare. The gyok has a population of more than 2,218 households. Jare is located some 16 kilometers from the satellite town of Otso. The gyok, which is twice as big as Tangrong, has a total area of 68.41 square kilometer that shares borders with Mongar in south and Bumtang in the west. Tangrong, on the other hand, got its name from its rugged terrain. It is located 28 kilometers from Yadi town in Mongar. The gyok has 375 households with a population of 2,900. Tangrong is much smaller than Jare in geographical size, but it has a bigger population and more households than Jare. Farming is main source of livelihood for the people of Jare and Tangrong. Paddy, maize, vegetables, and fruit trees are commonly grown in both the gyoks.
Napatalama lapa se zero yung se mesong de lang ninjar di sumbi mago. To chang thora ha. Ninjar di sumpo nupchang. Zero biora masuk de la da napata. Toa tiwa so ma wala tharing kura. O de phale la mu ki me thop de la toa. Tharing kura so ma ngi ma le toa khungi ma ni phin de la. Diring na par de da jam do de la toa tiwa me pa da par buta la.
다 ngema bya chinde machi jargyo na gara lamu mi cha chai da dar na bya chinde da gar total la he de jipchi lo shi de chi do so ya sa sin chu me bi gan la de sa zata be de da sa sin chu na nem de sin la de da sem chum copy henche lafu an dis gara be na la kevin bombe re do si ni la da ngema bya chin sa zata be sin la le chap cha bi gan la de li atri mi de se gara chak tak jo mi bala 그 다리나 사실 좀 조심하려다 아치 내가 배우다 토야 아니 로서야 아치다 내가 다 쳇다 다리나 받아서
야마도 진짜 다리나 벌레서 점면나 점면라 다리나 봐 잠이 가지고 야마랑게 더롱기 짜스고로 롱기 또 님베고로 미 님베고로 서도로 남수면 라이 탭고 먹어라 대다도로 포터기 바진데 미니기데 야마랑 님시디 다도 님지 먹어라 아니 무슨 레셔라 포터를 점면서 다 다나부터 강님이 되면라 다니 강님한테 뭐 다른 사이 다르나발 답을 하면 되거든. 냐마도 아니 사지 수완이 맞아. 되는데 대추아지 슈움지 싹게 보면.
For Bhutan, stories from communities like Changxing and Jerry become only more relevant to consider due to its scarce resources amid the national vision to formulate a people-centric approach to climate change mitigation. Today, the impacts of the global phenomenon pose new challenges to the sustainability of lands. And with the mountainous landscape, land degradation is becoming an emerging key environmental issue in Bhutan.
Site, steepness, intensity of the rainfall, and also the management practices. So we are losing quite a lot of soil on the cultivated area. And if this trend continues, at one time we will have no topsoil, which is basically for production agriculture. We will just have the subsoil or the barren materials, stones, pebbles. So because of that only, we are gearing up or stressing the need for sustainable land management.
Against such a backdrop, the National Soil Services Center piloted sustainable land management practices from 2006 to 2013. Based on the degree and prevalence of land degradation, the extent of poverty and unsustainable land management practices, Chukha, Shemgang and Trashigang districts were chosen for the project. Numerous evidence suggests that such interventions will enhance farmers' livelihoods by conserving soil and moisture, which makes agricultural production less variable and diversifies agricultural income.
Why SLM? It's because we need to enhance productivity. People take it for granted, like by supplying an improved seed, they can ensure a productivity. That is just for short term, 1 year, 2 years. But if you go for land development, it's for sustainability, for long term. So in a way, developing the land is a basis for everything, even for food, clothes, economic, all these things. So considering the land as a basis for livelihood and anything, I think we need to invest in land development first. then only we can go up with all these irrigation facilities, electric fence, chain link fence, improved seed. If you don't have a good land or a fertile land, then it's no point of having all these other amenities outside, because your production will be ultimately very low. The intention of this is when they plow or till the soil, all this soil washed from the top will be stopped by this riser.
According to experts, some of the best sustainable land management practices include terracing hedgerows, check dams, contour stone burns, bench terraces, and bamboo and tree plantation. Bench terraces and Napier hedgerows are one of the most popular sustainable land management measures adopted by the farmers. These practices reduce soil erosion, conserve soil moisture, and improve soil fertility. Napier grass also provides fodder for cattle and eases workability after 5 to 10 years through formation of partial terraces. Napier grass is one of the important perennial tropical forage crops belonging to the family Poaceae. It is also called Uganda grass or elephant grass. It is native to Africa but is now grown in many tropical countries. It can grow well in marginal land. The grass grows tall and forms large clumps like bamboos. The establishment of contour stone bunds and fodder grass hedgerows are the same, except that the former uses surface stones. Contour stone bund is more durable and provides more support to the upper slope than hedgerows. Low-cost check dams are constructed to control gullies. The check dam reduces the erosive power of the overland flow and traps sediments, thus slowly stabilizing the gully.
Ni ranga bu nam sampantola, ni atha tangi bu pantola, ni atha tsi baki bu waga nam sampantola, ni nam sami atha ngam skin chulakam ni borang le lami makia, tsi borang le lami makia ni unang kadenhan, ni make ni waga ni biliga nam sampantola.
Sai zinjon tabi nimdele gosudi, machi lo ni sumde chigering lora, tenga chi sadi soki, teles sai zinjon ki thelo hero atsi tap de tobe, sachak tap bedo to jung sejinel.
Various low-cost sustainable land management interventions such as Napier plantation, construction of retention walls, stone bunding, and landslide stabilization have helped enhance the use of more than 100 hectares of land in Thangrong.
The ladies on the Kera Sudil, they are this way to the hill. For searching Mammy Midisui, the Kiwa Disuyan Sube, the Tetricum, the Nalus only Bembas for Jimpa, Mongoli Fataba, Beatrice 100 and 10 years ago. They are Kiwa Disuya to the hill. Naragi Biot in the Halam for a kitchen, the cheese jumping in mid 10 message. The Dadu Biot in the Halam Tion, Sumju, the Chidi, 10 message. That's it. Kevin di bombera juina jundila.
Denga chira charji chusumpanai anizumbi lerim chamniki ache geoki hontole lerim chamniki charji sessionil kachim sewachin denga chira sa gadimchi irura de tenkundi lesha mebachin khuminu denga chira sa achichi berura de chibe chi leshumchi so de lekchebe de dinalu 사치다 뎀베베 와친 데 사시 진종 탑kopting 아치기 나라기 개혁나 베신 사 가시쇼 지베 지도 스슈닐.
Overall, almost 10,000 hectares of land have been developed in the country through sustainable land management practices, and activities are ongoing in 10 districts. Officials at the National Soil Services Center say that sustainable land management plays a critical role in achieving food self-sufficiency.
Sustainable land management, we are talking of ensuring food security. For now, if most of the, say 70% of the farmlands are situated on the steep slopes, with a degree of 25 to 30 degree, which is actually not fit for crop in farming. But unfortunately, we have very limited land resources, and most of the farmers, they have a very steep slope farming. So without the land development or sustainable land management practices, the productivity or to ensuring the food security through other means will be challenging unless we keep on importing from the neighboring countries.
While much has been done, an evaluation report of the Bhutan Trust Fund for Environmental Conservation has highlighted some policy and field barriers related to sustainable land management practices in the country, including a lack of coherent and comprehensive sustainable land management practices and climate change resilient strategy. The Agriculture and Livestock Ministry says the ministry considers the impacts of climate change on agriculture as a major concern, and sustainable land management is a core activity of the ministry's 5-year plan. The recently revised Food and Nutrition Security Policy of Bhutan 2014 has all the components of land management and food and security needs of the country.
For the ministry, we do not feel there's a need of a specific sustainable land management policy, because as I said earlier, the food and nutrition security policy that has been adopted very recently has addressed all the components that is needed for the food and nutrition security, so which means land management is very much part and parcel of the food and nutrition security policy. Something like human-wildlife conflict, the need of the land management, these are all the challenges that's been identified, and then the policy has accordingly strategized how to implement this.
Meanwhile, back in Changxing, people like Sonam Yangden continue to remain hopeful. Despite some challenges, adopting sustainable land management practices has made them more resilient and independent. And with time and continued efforts, they are optimistic that stories like theirs would become a national narrative.
The lalugi the masiwa lesho mioni imbeze alibe kosha bebenitigi the machaba lili bimbela da mi jemi ditsugi saizin chonde su lesho be chap the khondi sule taja thongja ni be ta bebe beodalu the khodi su sim shukebe 아니베 잡니기 고갑레 메시슈니베나